Today marks exactly a year since Eldorado Park teenager Nathaniel Julies was gunned down allegedly by police, with his family seeking answers. 3 police officers were arrested and charged with the killing of the teenager who suffered from Down syndrome, and he died, or was killed rather, just meters away from his home. Newzroom Afrika reporter Linda Mnisi has been tracking that story for us. Linda, good evening. I imagine a very somber moment, and when I think back to this time last year and how his killing had captured the nation, what has happened a year on? Because there certainly was no shortage of promises of justice being pursued in this case.
Absolutely, Kathy. You'll remember that a lot has happened since the past year and since Nathaniel's killing. And of course, shortly after we saw community members going on a rampage, we saw the arrest of 3 police officers. Now, they've been in court, and that case is yet to go on trial. And that is one of the frustrating things for the community of Eldorado Park, on how slow the wheels of justice continue to turn, given the fact that this happened last year already, and they had thought that by this time they would have, convicted these 3 police officers. But of course, the case is going on trial on the 4th of October. So today, of course, was about remembering that story that ripped the community apart. Nathaniel Julies' mother, Bridget Harris, speaking about how she felt at the time when this incident happened. And I remember her saying to me that I have so many questions that are yet to be answered at the moment. I have so many questions about what she might have felt when she fired a shot at a child who could not speak, who could not respond at that moment. She says that her son died a lonely death because he was alone and there was nobody to assist him at that moment. So this day in particular reminds her of all the questions that she still has that are yet to be answered.
It's the story of a mother who has suffered very deep heartbreak, and we know that it extended even beyond her. Some of Nathaniel's siblings had experienced similar heartbreak and expressed that. What did they have to say to you today?
Well, of course, it is a big family. Nathaniel was the 3rd of 8 children. And she says, they all say that because he was the one with special needs, we always had to look after him. And not having that over the past year has really torn them. It has really been difficult for the family and the children. In fact, when I speak to Bridget, she says it's quite different because we were looking forward to buying him a speaker for December. We were looking forward to doing so many things, Kathy. I want to take you to, an interview I did with her earlier on, and this is what she had to say about how she's feeling currently.
I felt that I could have done more. I was blaming myself over and over. I could have just stand up myself. Even though he got angry and ran away, I would have just get him by his hand and bring him home. I blame myself over and over, and things are going through my mind, I could have just been with him while he was laying here. Why didn't they? I asked myself, why didn't they just leave me for 5 minutes?
That's a terrible thing for a mother to have to live through, Linda. At the time of his killing, what also took place was that it helped shine the spotlight on drugs in communities such as Eldorado Park, because he was accused of being a runner, effectively, of different drug lords, which was refuted and denied by the community. And I think it's widely accepted that that is not what he was doing. But have the police played any significant role in terms of actually uncovering the drug kingpins and those behind the drug violence in Eldorado Park?
Well, I spoke to the police earlier this week, Kathy, especially around, the policing of people living with disabilities. Because, for example, even if he was dealing with drugs, what would be the way to approach a person who's suspected of dealing in crime or participating in crime, would force be the first response, the first way to respond to someone like that? And they're saying that they've had to, you know, introspect as a police station, really look into how they do such kinds of cases, how they approach people living with disabilities. There's a community organization which was started last year called the Caitlin Doman Foundation, which is also at the forefront of really trying to rebuild the relationship between the police and, of course, the community. They're saying that they're also still dealing with issues of corruption. You'll remember the issue of prohibited ammunition, which was used to also kill Nathaniel Julies. And I asked, how does that find itself in a state firearm? How does it find itself in the position of people that are supposed to uphold the law? And, you know, the station commander saying to me that, well, those are issues that they're looking at, but they also need community participation to make sure that they deal with these issues. Now, it also boils down to you know, what Bridget Harris is saying that at this point it would seem to her that the police who did this have no remorse, looking at how they even handled her son, Kathy. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
They take his lifeless body, threw him in the van like a dog, drove off with him alone at the back of the van. Get to the hospital, take out his lifeless body, threw it on a stretcher like a dog. For me, they meant everything.
All right, Linda, so I understand that you actually have a special interview and work that you've put together for us tonight.
Yes, indeed. So at 8 o'clock, I sit down with Bridget Harris. So we reflect on the year that has been for her and how she has, you know, coped with that. We understand there was, of course, a lot of people that supported her and her cause over the past year. But what has happened to those numbers? Today we're seeing, you know, political parties busing people in. Where is the community of Eldorado Park? We're also looking at how the case is going. The state has lined up about 50 witnesses in this case, and about 20 of those are police officers from the Eldorado Park police station, and the others are the doctors that treated Nathaniel Julies, who will hopefully bring justice to this case.
Linda Mnisi, keeping an eye on this very important story for us. So that special airs at 8 p.m. tonight.